Are we live?
We're live, but we're spooling up onto Facebook right now.
Well, in the meantime, welcome friends to Political Head Trauma.
Okay. One second. Okay, now we're live. Start it off.
Welcome to Political Head Trauma, where Jared.
Where if Head Trauma had a podcast, this is what it would sound like.
Humana. Today is Friday, August 9th.
Yes.
So
Maybe
all
the
of you
10th.
are getting ready to get your kids back to school, which is coming up quickly next week. I believe we start next Thursday at one of the schools. And yikes, this isn't easy. I got one kid prepping for a new school and the other one going into 7th grade. So this is just kind of a chaotic time. I'm sure a lot of you out there are feeling the same way. So it's good to be back and on our regular day.
Yeah, it's going to be a short show, and here in the future we can probably, I don't know, we've got to figure it out. We'll figure out some kind of schedule or something. But, that's where it's at. And there's lots going on in the news. I'm sure we really don't need to cover it. Not that we would have any more insights than anyone else, but England's on fire. There's a whole bunch of riots going on there. It sounds like, well, there was a murder which caused English people who are tired of the current immigration levels to protest, which caused a backlash and a counter protest. And now the police are arresting everybody. And there was I even watched a video where a England police chief threatened to arrest Americans who post stuff online. And
not sure how they
can. No, they cannot. But that is something I would like to see. I would like to see a Bobby come over here and arrest your average redneck, because I imagine that would not go well.
Maybe they're talking about Americans in England.
No, he mentioned specifically, no matter where you are, we will come get you, and you're accountable to the law.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that.
Good luck. Bangladesh is kicking off between the Muslims and the Hindus. The Muslims are essentially just, I guess, I'm not in Bangladesh, but the Muslims are essentially just kind of killing a lot of Hindus, burning their houses down, committing a lot of violence. Lots of stuff coming across on X of that. I don't know what sparked it off over there. Bangladesh seems to be in some kind of civil war or coup at any given day. I mean, what day is it and which military is in charge? So I don't know.
Well, Hindus aren't a violent people. They're probably the most calm people there are. As far as religion goes,
Hindus historically were fairly violent. Hindus have calmed down. They're an older religion, and they have calmed down. And they, I think the interaction between England and the Indian subcontinent has, they've gained a better perspective. Historically, they had some extremely violent acts, but they gained some perspective, which is why, I was thinking about this the other day. Everyone says, why can Indians move to England and seem to get along forever? Well, for hundreds of years, the English and the Indians interacted with each other, and
they mated when they moved there.
Yeah, the India essentially kind of modeled itself after England in a way. it still had some holdovers, the caste system, which England had kind of a caste system with its, with its monarchy and such. You can easily argue that a monarchy builds a caste system, a monarchy with lords and peasants and such. But then you've got the Pakistanis, which is a Muslim break off of India, and they're not assimilating when they go to England as well, or to the English island, whatever.
I don't think
Neither
people
are Bangladesh.
how
What's that?
small. I don't think people realize how small England is. It's a small island compared to the size of the United States. So while we're taking in millions and millions of refugees, they're probably taking in at least 1 million, right? And they're smaller than Texas.
Yes, they're smaller in Texas. They've taken in at least 1 million, and I think it's somewhere. I heard this the other day, so don't quote me, but like 500,000 illegal immigrants. Here's the point. Someone made this point. They have taken in more immigrants in the last 10 years or last 20 years than they did the previous 300 years.
Yeah.
So that's a lot to drink in. But anyway,
their crime rate and the crime that's gone up is really, really bad, which has a lot of people protesting in the streets. A lot of it's because it's a lot of sexual assault. There's a lot of other types of robberies. The difference between a burglary and a robbery is the victim and the circumstance. You can burglarize a house, no one's home, you're not putting anyone in fear. But when you rob a house, that means someone was in the house that you threatened and took their stuff. And robberies have gone up. These people aren't acting in fear of anything, to the point where, I've seen it on X where people say, "Come try this in America," But I'm starting. I mean, we're seeing this in America, in American cities. New York is one of them. Baltimore is another. Chicago. These places. You've got a lot of people who are victims of new rising crime, and nobody's talking about it except for the right. And it's making me so upset because Democrats deserve to live in safe communities too. Everybody should be able to protect themselves and live in a safe community.
Yeah. Well, you'll notice it's communities that don't respect the natural right of self-defense.
It's all, yeah, it's true.
It's
of the most dangerous cities. They are blue cities, and their gun usually have some of the strictest gun rights.
Yeah, I mean, and England as well. I mean, I saw a post on X. An English guy posted. You know how they do the AI art? The guy standing there in his he's got a tactical vest on and camouflage clothes, and there's an explosion behind him, and it says, "British men, it's time to take England back." Well, the rulers have decided against you, the people with the guns. So first, you must decide to get your rights to self-defense back. And then you can work on getting your nation back. And that's
after you've rights, to get them back is near impossible. I mean,
yep. And then when you do get them back, you're going to have to do that flooding depressed economy with guns and trying to figure out how those get distributed. Well, the wealthy, the people in charge, are going to buy up whatever's available. And then it'll be like Mexico. There's essentially one gun store. It's controlled by the military. It's in Mexico City, and they don't let you buy guns because Mexico has in its constitution the right to bear arms. They just make it hard to buy arms.
Well, they also say it's illegal to kill someone, and cartels have been doing it perfectly for years.
100%.
Mexico is a terrible example. Mexico is probably getting flooded with migrants as well, but they've got a good way to shove that caravan up north,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that
up
is
to the
true.
United States. It's Mexico doesn't tolerate it. They don't. They do not let people sneak into Mexico, get jobs, get benefits. They do not tolerate it. They will either put them in prison or deport them. And
Yeah.
that's how Mexican law works. They don't ask for amnesty or grant amnesty. Hell, I don't even know if they give green cards.
Well, and Mexico also doesn't give welfare to just any random person that walks in, and they especially don't give big welfare to illegals. And, I know I'm not a wall person, but Mexico does have a wall on its southern border.
Yeah, well, they like it there.
Yeah.
Their economy their economy thrives as long as Mexican citizens are sending money home from the United States. If
A
you were
little
to
bit.
actually put that, hey, it was on their GDP ranked like fifth at one point of
Mm-hmm.
their GDP was money from the United States.
Yep.
So if that's not a problem, I mean, that's not our problem, right? That's not happening in America. It's flooding in the Ukraine or in UK, and you're seeing it in Germany. You're seeing it in Italy. These countries are getting overwhelmed now, and they can't protect themselves. Crime is getting rampant, and these immigrants are coming over with weapons of their own a lot of times. So it's not like there's weapons coming out of thin air. I mean, they're bringing them.
Yeah. There was a Muslim guy arrested last week in England for posting a video where he was flashing an AK-47. And in England, it's supposed to be illegal there, doubly illegal because it's, one of those evil guns that makes Democrats, get weak in the knees.
That's an assault rifle, right?
Oh, sure.
Well, which version of it was the kind that you hold the trigger down and it just keeps firing, or was it like an AR that just you have to...
He didn't get close enough for me to identify. They look the same. You have to be able to get close enough to look at the selector switch / dust cover to see if it goes down another notch.
Well, Kamala and her running mate would like to get rid of automatic rifles.
Yeah, they'd like to get rid of a lot of things. I wish them luck.
But I don't think they can define what an automatic rifle is. They call them assault rifles,
Yeah.
and they define what that is. So I think they just mean scary looking gun. So if
No.
you're in when you're looking to buy a rifle, an AR, buy one in purple or pink or that beautiful Tiffany green, because if it doesn't look scary, then they can't really take it. But she and her partner, her running mate, are both talking gun control and mandatory buybacks, and you know they're they're ready to they're ready to forget what the Supreme Court says. You guys, we're going into a place of...
How are they going to do it though? There are more ARs in the country than people. How are they going to do it? It's
Good
impossible.
question.
It's
How do
impossible.
they convince the world to get a shot?
I want to talk about some Kamala Waltz politics real quick. So on Kamala's short list was also that Shapiro, that governor, right?
Yeah, they should have picked him.
She didn't pick him, and everyone's saying it's because he supports Israel, which could be. Kamala may have feared losing her base if she picked him, but looking at it, I think it's because Kamala's afraid. Look, the die has been struck in the Democrat Party. They will, when they decide they're done with you, they will force you out and put your VP in. And I think Kamala picked this guy who even the Democrats are like, we can't do it. He doesn't strike. The Shapiro guy is younger. He's handsome. He's put together. She picked a guy who isn't. I'm not saying he's wrong. What's that?
Pennsylvania is a battleground state. And if he could have delivered her Pennsylvania, I still don't know why she didn't pick him. If she's so afraid of losing the people who support Hamas, then she deserves to lose. But at least the guy in Pennsylvania, I don't agree with his politics, but at least he believed that Jews deserve to live, and he was in a battleground state that was very scary last time around. And
I
if they could
think
deliver that, it could get him the win, actually.
I think she's more worried that she'll get the Biden treatment in 3 to 4 years. If
I
she
would
was
get
to
it.
win,
I
she would
wouldn't get
get
that.
pushed out.
I do not trust the puppet masters any longer. If they do win, I think they'll win and with cheating. Now, I have to go back though. Nevada has cleared their rolls of over 100,000 people's names that shouldn't have been on there.
Mhm.
Arizona, we think, has cleared their rolls. Their governor, still weird. Wisconsin was trying to do the roll clear on there. Georgia took a big swap at trying to clear their rolls. That those states could flip easily with the new rolls the way they are. And I'm not just talking presidential, I'm talking down ticket. So if that happens, and those states that were in question before, Pennsylvania is the only state I just don't know if their AG has done anything to make election integrity something, if they've gone through their rolls like the other states have. But if they do win, I would question the validity of it, just because of how none of it added up last time around. But let's say they do win. She will be a puppet. We've seen that. And I don't think she has the intelligence to run the country, or maybe I'll say it, maybe she's too smart to be anyone's puppet. And once she crosses that finish line, she may decide she wants to implement, because the guy she chose is a socialist, and he's a proud socialist. He's probably more to the left than Bernie Sanders. And here we go. If she's going to start implementing certain things, if she doesn't play along with the puppet masters, oh yeah, they'll get rid of her. We've watched a coup happen before our eyes with Biden. We've watched a
Yeah.
coup.
Yeah, it's a good time. I ask my Democrat friends, how do you feel about your ability to practice democracy?
What do they say?
Well, I mean,
Anyone but Trump, right?
yes, that's essentially it. Amali May says, isn't her husband Jewish? I don't know.
That's a Google search. I really don't know. I
And
know that the
he,
United States considers Israel an ally. And they're part of that. So regardless of any of their religion, they're supposed to be supporting Israel according to our treaty.
now, I don't think the Democrats would turn their backs on Israel except for during this election time where their base is anti-Israel. Let's remember, now I know me and Holly differ on this. I'm not anti-Israel, but I am anti-APAC. I'm anti the control they have in our government, because it does feel like, personal opinion, that our dual citizens in the government on both parties, and both parties would sell this nation down the river for the upliftment of Israel. That's just my opinion. Call me wrong, call me crazy, but that's my opinion. That's what it feels like to me.
Well,
When
our country
APAC,
helped create Israel, so of course we have some
well,
responsibility there.
I don't think we have any responsibility. And when APAC goes after congressmen who are the most upstanding, such as Thomas Massey, I lost all respect for APAC at that time. I lost all of it. They gunned for Thomas Massey, and as far as I'm concerned, then you are a snake.
Here's the thing. Right now, I mean, I get it. I would like to look at all the agreements that the United States treaties are in and everything, because I think that we need to take a step back. You know how I feel about this Ukraine war. I have no interest in the United States protecting Ukraine, protecting someone that we've never protected before, especially to this level, unaudited and money everywhere. But look at Israel. they have been attacked by a terrorist organization, children, women, men murdered, and Israel is now trying to get hostages back. Israel is trying to take out their leaders. In my opinion, we should just let them go. Let them do it. It's their business, their war. And I mean, I don't know what they're asking of from us. I know their technology is pretty brilliant.
Well, we do
So-
give Israel lots of money. Lots of money.
In exchange, they share their technology with us, which is
we
something.
can debate that with people who know more than I do offline. There's questions on that. Like if you look into the Stuxnet, they literally infected the world to target Iran, and that held us all hostage. We're all held hostage right now. All of us, the whole world, everyone. They infected the whole world just for that. Which to me seems like well, I don't like the idea of firing on innocents to shoot a bad guy. Just lay it out like that. But I don't want to get into a Israel debate because I'm not anti-Israel. And now about letting Israel off the leash, I'm just going to say it like this. There is the rest of the world out there. And Israel has lost favor with every nation but one. Every nation. So I think if we let Israel off the leash, that's fine, but it will be to their own demise.
I don't feel like they've gained much favor in the United States under Obama or under this president. I think it's a lot of wibble wobble. And I think that what I believe that Israel wants peace. They want peace.
I'm sure they do.
They don't want people invading them. They don't want people tunneling in. And I just think that they're not getting a lot of backing from this administration, nor from Obama. And again,
Well,
I don't want us out. I want us out of all these wars in other countries. If Germany wants to defend itself against an attack from Italy, yes, they should be able to do that. It shouldn't be, oh, well, America's going to get in and we're going to say, this is fine. I have to say worse. If Germany and Italy want to defend themselves an attack against ISIS, I think that we help them because they're not even fighting necessarily for territory. They're fighting a jihad that Americans can't wrap their head around. They'll never stop. They'll never stop. They've got to cut the heads off these snakes. Hi, Fred. Hi, O'Malley.
It is a super complicated issue.
It is. It's above my pay grade.
Here's okay. Now, I think when we catch wind that Obama or Biden is not supporting Israel as much as Israel wants, and we got to remember the benchmark is they're not supporting Israel as much as Israel wants. You're seeing politics played because
Absolutely.
you haven't seen either of those governments withhold money from Israel, not a bit. Withhold defense from Israel, not a bit. Withhold anything from Israel. You haven't seen them withhold anything from Israel. I think what they do is they've got our media that's on their side. They pretend to hold it, or they give out the word to hold it to support their base. And the reason their base is against Israel, and we've talked about this before, is because we are in a modern era where level of melanin equals whether you're good or bad. And that is it. What you do doesn't matter. It's your level of melanin. And there's a perception.
At the same time, perception, look at all the money in Ukraine.
Sure.
We have spent more money than most states have as a GDP. We've
Sure.
given most countries matter over there in Ukraine. Melanin has nothing to do with it. We're dragged into this.
Oh, they're the same color over there.
Our government wants us in this, wants us in this. But then they're going to say, sorry, Israel, we can't send food and supplies or
No,
whatever.
but you missed my point. The Democrats are doing that because their base is a part of this modern idealism. And this modern idealism judges on melanin. Now, the reason Russia and Ukraine doesn't matter is because they're the same. So they're just going to go with, might makes wrong. And I don't agree with Russia invading either. I just don't want us to.
But why are they so quick to pay? Why are they so quick to have us involved in this fight if they don't care?
Because might makes wrong.
What does that
Because
mean?
after melanin, it's might makes wrong. Because it's the left's mentality right now. The left's mentality right now is if you are the weaker party, you're automatically good. You're automatically golden. You're automatically an angel.
If you're mighty.
If you're what's that?
You mean mighty, like might meets wrong?
Yeah, might makes wrong. Like might makes right. Well, they've reversed that because they have been brought up that, that you've got the casts of skin tone and gender. Remember, gender's in there. And then if you're even outside that, like you're a guy who decides to become a girl, well, then all of a sudden you gain another little extra bonus on that ladder of who's important and who's correct. But in a place like Ukraine and Russia, they're the same. So then they're going to go off, okay, who's the bigger country? Who's got the economy? Who's got that? Now, of course,
who's going to wonder for us?
Now that I think is what that's what the politicians are thinking.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But their base, which is why the politicians signal that they don't support Israel, is to keep their base. They've got to keep their base. So their base is thinking Russia's bigger. That's exactly how Kamala explained it. A bigger nation attacked a smaller nation. Yes. Like she broke it down in Fido the Big Red Dog kindergarten books.
Jews have been notably Democrat.
They don't care about that. They have proven this year that democracy only matters as a talking point. They proved that by selecting who gets run. They proved it when Bernie Sanders was beating the pants off of Hillary. They proved that democracy is a theme. Democracy is if my underwear is soft, that's democracy. And if my underwear is scratchy, that's not. It has nothing to do with real democracy or what it means. And I'm not a fan of democracy. I'm not an unfan of it. I think it can maybe be done correctly one day down the road, but I don't think it's for real. It's like socialism to me.
Fred says they don't understand the results of might. And Mason James Allred said, we send a lot of money to Israel. Unfortunately, we also send a lot of money to their sworn enemies. Less money sent to that entire area would be a win for both Israel and the U.S. Just my opinion. I love Israel. I've been there multiple times. That's where I'm at. I just say we stop sending money, period. We stop being winners of wars because America is not only famous for that, but we're famous for killing dictators instead of letting the people rise up. And we're so famous for creating leadership and problem areas. Look at Venezuela. And then we back out and the people are the victims of it. And it does go for Israel. I believe Israel can take care of themselves. They can't be bogged down by the UN and the United States telling them what they can and can't do, especially when we are sending weapons to Palestine. We're sending money, which buys weapons. We sent them food. It didn't get to the Palestinians. Didn't get to them.
I don't just believe Israel can take care of themselves. I know they can. And the reason they can is because they're going against Islamic monarchists, which Islamic monarchists have traditionally weak armies because everyone's afraid the guy just beneath them is going to overthrow them. so they don't pass the information along, and it holds them hostage. There's whole studies on military tactics that even the US Army versus the German Army, because of Germans' hierarchy status, loses because we have kind of a independent minded army. We're an army that can act as low as a private, whereas the German army had to have an officer involved in every decision, whether you attack, retreat, or hold up.
Jared, that same mindset has gone, I believe, into the Democrat Party regarding our own government monarchy. It ties us all the way back around. Kamala, do you think for 1 second there's not someone telling her every move she's going to make? And she's probably, like you said, she's going to get in probably. And who knows if she's going to keep playing ball with them. She's not stupid. I don't want people, the woman she's got a law degree. I don't think she's stupid, but I do think she's evil. I think there's a side of her that she'd step on her own mother's back to get her someplace. So I don't think her character is very good. And I think her ideals of a perfect government are communist. I think they're tyrannical, actually. With her being top. I think that's evil. But I have a feeling that she is concerned. And I don't know what the guy's name was. It's been all over Twitter now, where he came out and said, well, they're going to be surprised on January 6th even if Trump wins. He's already violated the fourth section of the amendment, 14th Amendment, and he started an insurrection, so he won't be valid to be even sworn in. And since he already started one, the Democrats can take over power because it would make him.
Oh, that was Raskin. That was Senator Raskin.
So, hello, Senator. Are you in fact implying that you are going to have an insurrection if Trump wins on January 6th?
We're in the fun times. We're
not even hiding it. In the past, they have hidden it. They're not hiding it now. Where's our guest? Did you send it to her via Messenger?
I didn't send it to her because I don't know her. You need to send it to her.
Oh, okay. What link do I send her? The same one you sent me?
Yes. Right now it's all political bluster all the time. Fred says, enough said about your scratch underwear. Fred, I'm glad you caught on. It's laundry day.
I even wear underwear, to be honest. So I'm
What's
proud.
That?
I'm just proud that you're wearing any.
Well, we don't need to be technical.
You brought it up.
That Fred also says that which seems obvious to us does not match up with the goal of breaking down this country so it can be rebuilt in a communist manner. It's power hunger, and I think some people are born, and I will 100% believe, or I think that Kamala and Waltz and all of them believe that if they win this seat and they absorb that power to themselves and they ratchet down on people, they believe that this will be a better nation. They're wrong, but they honestly believe that.
Yes, because it'll be a nation that has an oligarchy of sorts. It'll be a nation that there are leaders in power that are appointed and anointed, not elected. Every tyrant believes they're doing the best thing for their nation.
Except for Stalin.
Gift to their nation.
I don't think Stalin believed that. I think Stalin just wanted the pure exercise of violence and power. But Pol Pot, he believed it. Mao
thought he was essentially a god for his people.
Yeah, Mao.
Killed so many.
Yeah.
Hitler
imagine
people. Hitler thought he was saving Germany and keeping her, Germany, the fatherland. He called it the fatherland, didn't he?
Yeah, it's the fatherland. The motherland is Russia.
But he thought that he was not only saving Germany, but he was going to create a larger nation of people that would never be defeated again.
Yeah. Yeah, worked out well
They
for
all
him.
that way. But when you
I
don't
don't
have a
think Stalin. I think Stalin was. I mean, like, I think he was the true exercise of power. Um, Look, Lenin was bad. Started the massacres in Ukraine and the starvation, but he did it under what he called wartime economics. But and he ended that and then started to liberalize their economy because he noticed they were starving. But Stalin just wanted to kill. I think Stalin was a sociopath serial killer that got off on it. My honest
probably.
opinion. Pol
Did you
Pot.
read what I wrote about that which seems obvious? Did you read that?
No, I did not.
He says that which seems obvious to us does not match up with the goal of breaking down this country so it can be rebuilt in a communist manner. And Norma said there will be no middle class left, just the very rich and the very poor. And she's absolutely right.
We're already there.
Yeah, that's what's happened. Under Trump, he grew the middle class, and a lot of the middle class went higher class, and a lot of the poverty went up to the middle class. So focusing on classes of people, you got to see people who normally could, barely afford anything, started getting raises at work, or the interest rates were so low they were able to finally buy a home, or whatever it was, go on a vacation. Groceries weren't killing them at the store. Under a tyrannical government, they decide who eats. They decide
That's what
who.
the Holodomor was. Sorry, repeat
That's
yourself, Holly.
sorry. That's just their mindset. They see themselves as not people, as they see themselves as lords and ladies, and let them eat cake. Mm-mm. I know she didn't say that, but essentially that's what happens. Is they see themselves as the savior of a nation that they've destroyed, and everybody now is under them to try to build them back up, which is why every communist nation fails. Because if you try to step out of line, you're dead. And if enough of you step out of line, then you have maybe an election, but is it fair? Is it free?
Remember
And is
Poland's election
less
of 80, Poland's election of 89 was that signaled the downfall of Russia. Now, our illustrious CIA didn't recognize it, but that signaled it. We could go into that another time on the show. I think what's killing the middle class in the U.S. is the progressive era. When the progressive era in the 40s rolled in real hard, they, according to FDR, he wanted to have the most intelligent people making all the decisions for the economy, for ecology, and all that. And then you move forward in the 80s when it really moved, or the 70s when it moved into environmentalism. It moved on, and it's the regulations that are killing your middle class. The regulations which favor big business, favor the business that has an army of lawyers. Why do you think Walmart is able to decimate, to destroy every mom and pop shop wherever they go? It's not because Walmart is so much better. I think those pop shops would survive. But Walmart brings with it a set of standards that the government can now step up and regulate more and take more taxes. And then the little guys can't compete on that level. Why does Tyson Foods and Imperial Chicken dominate the meat market? It's because they've regulated everyone else out of the market. And as a single owner, small business owner operator, I recognize that. There's laws that went through this year that are insane. Just insane. Like, I'm supposed to register an account. If I don't have 20 employees, I have to do extra registration. In the state of Utah, if I don't have employees, I have to pay to register my business. I have to pay extra if I don't have employees. Someone drink that in. And that's put through by Republicans.
Well,
the progressive era is deep. It's everywhere.
People like Walmart get to buy large shipments from China at ridiculously low prices. People like Walmart can get away with a lot more than mom and pa's ever could.
They can.
we tried, the regulation alone in the business that we had, it changed constantly. We had an attorney just for our patents to babysit. And the entire time, technology is changing. It's getting smaller and smaller. And you can't send your technology to China, they'll steal it. And there's nothing you can do about it. So you have to have it put here. They build the case, they send it here, and then we have private company flashing the intelligence into this technology. That the problem with it is the red tape is ridiculous. A small business has, like you said, I mean, we had less than 10 employees, but you literally you jump through hoops, not to mention what you're paying in taxes for them, and then they pay taxes on top of that. And it's gotten insane. And the problem we have is it is the very building blocks of our whole country. You start taking out small businesses, it crumbles, and all you have is crony capitalism.
Well, it's feudalism. The small business is the way to break out of the cycle of just ringing a bell and being trapped into a fixed income. Small business is the way that you can grow and expand and be mobile in your life, and they're killing it, which is why the middle class is over. It's done. I mean, you can count doctors as middle class, but sure, that's such a small percentage. And then to top that off, we've got our politicians, which make ridiculous. Honestly, politicians shouldn't make what they make. I still am a firm believer that all politicians that are federal politicians, their wage should be either decided on the median of where they represent. So whoever gets CD2, their wage would be decided on the median of our congressional district. Our senator should be the median of the part of the state he represents. That's the median. And it could be the median plus 10%, median plus 5%, whatever. But we've got to make it so.
Their district, I think they do business from their district. They vote from their district. If you did that, I bet that would be totally fine, even with the politicians, because the median isn't going to afford them even an Airbnb in DC. It's just not.
Yeah. I honestly, right now at this point, I don't care. I don't care if they have to go there and pull the New York Times up over themselves as a blanket. I really don't care, because they haven't been providing for us.
I know
they haven't stood in the way of this regulation. Our Congress hasn't taken responsibility for their congressional orders. They haven't taken responsibility for that. Our Congress hasn't. And then when I see they vote in to give Ukraine another bajillion dollars, and on the floor of our Congress, they're waving Ukrainian flags, I'm out. I'm done. I don't care. I honestly, our federal government could rot and die on the vine. I would not care a lick.
Well, to be honest, I mean, financial issue. Right now, Kamala and her running mate have both been huge fans of the Green New Deal. There's a price tag on that of 90 to $100 trillion. 90 trillion to $100 trillion. Both of them have said they will implement the Green New Deal. How can any Democrat, Independent, Republican, I don't care who you are, how can you look at your kids in the face and go, yeah, this makes sense? Our planet is far more important than the very people who live on it. They are such a pretzel of what their rules are. That's just more regulations, making it so little companies don't do the building or the refurbishing, only the big companies. And those contracts aren't like regular contracts. They're given by government contracts. So they got to pay government contract wages. And we all eat it, all of us. And for what?
So almost
for what?
like
So they can plug their cars in to electricity that there's not enough of to go around.
Oh, they don't want us to even have that in the end. I guarantee it. They don't care. We are chattel to them. Norma says the USA went to hell with Reaganomics, and there's a whole lot of truth to that. Supply side economics works well if you don't regulate competition out of the supply side. And Reagan did not do well at controlling regulation. Trump was the first president in what was it, 40 years to actually make some regulations go away. The first one.
He said
So,
for every you have to destroy 30 or something. And that went well. They started from the old days, went back to old regulations, but eventually they got into some that were really huge for companies to do better.
they need to
Actually,
ditch the Jones
grow.
Act. The Jones Act needs to go away tomorrow. That's a protectionist act that's just stupid. It's knocked out our maritime shipping. That's why the US doesn't run any maritime shipping lanes. They're all under other countries. Anyway, so is she coming on, or?
Yeah, she is. She was just going to be she's I told her jump on as soon as she got it. I'm trying to handle 2 conversations here.
Are you? And fanning yourself? Is it hot in your house?
Yes. It's not hot. It's hot in my body. My body is turned on me.
Oh, it's that thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it can never be cold enough unless you're talking about my feet. My feet are freezing almost to the point of pain, but the rest of me is like a furnace. So again,
Well,
ladies there who are suffering, all props to you. And I wish someone would have sat me down and explained this to me early on. And for all you men out there who want to be ladies, you're crazy. Why?
well, here's the deal. See, God gave women all the beauty and all the charm and all that, but he took that, that price. Men, he just gave us, just whatever. You can grow a beard, but he didn't give us any of that.
And I can email you her email because the link isn't working.
Just send me the link and send me her email in Messenger. Or maybe I can look her up.
Hold on. I'll send it. There you go. Look at us. We're professional podcasters, y'all.
Yes, we are.
Okay,
yes,
so
we
who
are.
I want on the show today, I know many of you know Kay and Brad Pratt. They've been members of our community forever. And they have been working so hard throughout. They're both either state delegate or precinct chair or county delegate. But I wish I could just duplicate them and have 100 delegates just like them. Not only do they really get involved and get to know candidates, but they offer, the candidates to come to their homes and, give the candidates time to meet delegates at their homes. They knock on doors. They try to meet with their delegates a lot as precinct chairs. And they've really just started a movement this past election. And I mean, they've worked extremely hard. Now, they were all in once they chose their candidates and they went all in. Then they went out after convention and informed their neighbors about who the convention winners were. And then they had chosen to back Colby Jenkins. And I'm telling you, I think it had a lot of effect on the turnout that Colby won Tooele County. But he had lost the main race, which started they go in and they do a recount, and all of the Tooele County clerks, all the county clerks in District 2 are then go under the microscope and they do a recount and to make sure the votes are correct and to get the winner. We talked about it last week where our very own Tracy Shaw discovered a issue in the the voting system where if you filled out your ballot and you circled the box or the circle like you were supposed to, turned it in, great. Machine can read it. She sees that in real time. But let's say you made a mistake on your ballot. You circled the name, changed your mind, and crossed it out, and then circled the right name. A machine can't read that. It kicks it out. When it gets kicked out, then the county clerk or her deputy clerk will take all those ballots and manually look at them, make sure they understand what you were trying to do. If they don't understand, they'll call you, and then they put it into the system. Well, our county clerk discovered that even after she did a recount manually, there was something off, with the software. So she contacted the Lieutenant Governor's office. They put a hold on doing any more recounts until they got this software figured out. The software company jumped on immediately. Our Lieutenant Governors jumped on it immediately, and they did a story in the Tribune about it. And then, she was commended. Our county clerk was commended for such intense and incredible work. Because of her work, they discovered this flaw in the software that just turned out to be, from what I understand, an upgrade issue. They were able to fix it, and she was able to give them an accurate recount. Now, we're not talking about it didn't change the results in our county at all, but what it did is it more highly secured our upcoming election, not just in Tooele County, but statewide. All of this is affecting how our general will go, and they discovered this months prior. So huge props go to our Tooele County clerk, Tracy, and when we can get her on, we will. She's not the type of person that she wants the numbers to be right, and she wants to do what's right because it's right. She's not trying to sway any which way. I don't even know how she votes in the general. I really don't. And the thing is I know that she's fair and extremely diligent when it comes to numbers. She's never seen a spreadsheet she didn't like. So with what has happened there, that's been fixed. But where Kay comes in is Colby Jenkins filed a lawsuit against the state of Utah, I believe, regarding ballots that were counted or not counted because they didn't make it on time before Election Day or weren't postmarked by Election Day. Again, this is something people may have put it in the mail, but that mail got sent to Nevada, didn't get, in the route, and it didn't get stamped. And so he was arguing that in front of courts because he believes it would have changed the result of the election. Kay has been sending me information on this, keeping me updated with what they found, and she actually witnessed the trial today where they went to the courts, which is why I want her to chime in because she knows a lot about what's going on. And did you send it?
I did. Now I'm looking at the Tribune to see what they write. They've got a story about how why the lieutenant governor. Look, Tribune, I want to say, you want people to trust you. Don't write stories like this. Lay it out. Why Lieutenant Governor Henderson told Utah's county clerks that election returns are not a public record. And then they go into pull cover for, which if you're spending my money or counting my vote, that is a public record. I don't care what you think.
What do they mean though? What's
I don't know. I'd have to go through the story and read it, but I'd like to read more about.
But you need people to be able to have privacy in the way they vote. You don't want how you vote public.
No, that's true, but I still want all the votes to come in. Assign them a voting number. I don't care. It can be a rotating. All right, we've got Kay in now.
Oh, hi, doll.
Hi.
Okay, I can hear her.
Yes, I can hear her as well.
Oh, good. Okay.
So, Kay,
So-
we just barely started talking about Colby and regard to his lawsuit.
Hold on one second. We're getting crazy feedback somewhere.
Uh-oh.
Where would it come
Kay's,
from?
it's coming from you, Holly.
I have nothing on in here.
It's just jumping on yours. Kay, let's have you talk for a second.
Okay. Ask me what you want to ask. I might have the answer, I hope.
Okay, well, yeah, we might be getting feedback on Kay's computer, and that's okay. We'll let Kay do most of the talking, and we'll sit here and shut up. So
I
tell us.
want to say really quickly, Kay, that the issue was, and what I was trying to explain is that ballots that were mailed, they could have been mailed out 2 or 3 days prior to the election deadline, but they went through Nevada, they went through other places, didn't stamp them before election day, therefore were thrown out. Is that correct?
Correct. Okay.
Okay.
So what did
Go ahead.
sorry,
Can we have
what did
Kay
Colby-
repeat? Let's have Kay repeat your question, because as you and as I am talking, we're getting a feedback through Kay's computer. Her microphone is picking up her speakers. If she talks, it's clear. If we talk, it just chops it all up.
Okay. I got an idea. I might have a computer on behind me. I haven't done this before, so bear with me and get that turned off. I've got to.
That's okay.
Okay. So let me try talking with just myself. Is that going to work?
Yeah, just yourself talking works. It's just when we talk, your microphone is hearing your speakers and it bumps reverberation back in on us.
Okay. All right. So if I just speak, we're good for a few seconds. We'll see if we can turn some of the computers that are running off in this room. Okay. So today Colby took the case to get about 1,200 votes counted that went to Las Vegas. That's a large number from rural Utah of votes. And that just that sheer volume to me explains that people in rural Utah and those counties, 10 of the 13 counties in the Congressional District 2, felt that when they mailed it, would be acceptable. I don't know that the information, or they realized it was going to go across state lines to Nevada, to Las Vegas, and then back to be counted. They didn't allow for that much time. And so that's a lot of people. Just that sheer number says they were not informed well enough for the time to allow to have their vote counted. They're at an economic and a geographic deviation. They're not taking care of it. They're economically not capable to get to the post office as fast, maybe, or geographically located close enough. It's very similar to like the electoral college, in that we've got a big chunk of our state not being represented in any of the elections, really. If that many of those ballots, it's not just this race, it's any race on all of those 1,200 ballots that their voices didn't get heard.
So you think we're at a disadvantage because people in rural Utah, and I'm assuming this is more down south, is that correct?
Right. It's in Kane, Garfield, Wayne, Iron County, the ones that are the littler counties that are involved that are in our race. They're very in the southern end of the state. No, not Wasatch is in the northern end. Washington County, yes.
Yeah. So is that, and that's because the mail system has a way of taking it down to Vegas rather than having a system here to manage Utah's mail. That's where they manage southern Utah's mail.
Yes, that is something fairly new. I thought it was actually within the last year, but I've understood today it's probably been in the last couple of years a change in the mail from those rural areas. Once they go to the post office, they're put in the bag and they are put in a truck, transported by vehicle to Las Vegas, unloaded there, postmarked in Las Vegas, put back into the mail and brought back to Utah to be delivered. And so that's a long delay.
That sounds like something government would do, mess something up like that. That's ridiculous.
That.
Why postmark it there? Why even take it there? Why not postmark it when they get it and move it from here?
Well, it puts the responsibility on the voter of knowing how the post office works and knowing that after they've entrusted their ballot to the post office, they need to understand the processes that goes through the post office and understand how it operates. People have spent their time to understand who they're voting for as much as they, that's a lot of time involved there. But then once you turn it over to the post office, you put it in that post ballot, the blue box outside the post office, or put it even in your post office at home and your mailbox at home and put the rural flag up and say, pick up my mail, Mr. Postman. Once he has it, it belongs to the Postal Service. And so you wouldn't know all the processes involved. It's where that ballot's going to travel before it gets back to your clerk for processing and credit to those people you're voting for.
What's the, so he went to court on that. What was the decision in court?
Well, today they haven't made a decision. And the Utah Supreme Court listened to the case today, but I don't know that it was quite as clear to them. They asked a lot of questions. It seemed kind of odd to me in the fact that what was he asking for? Well, he's asking for these 1,200 plus votes to be counted for not only his race or whoever's running. These votes were kicked out and not qualified as being postmarked in time. So he was representing all of those citizens in his plea today to have them counted. They wanted him to pinpoint one or two people or the person that it affected. It affected all of those voters. So I hope
does 1,200. I know 1,200 is a lot of votes. Do they believe that it would turn the race in Colby's favor? Do you have any idea what the were?
That's still up in the air. That's the point here. He doesn't know who they voted for. And a lot of the residents aren't sure that it was their votes or whose votes, other than if you mailed them. That's probably their first clue that they're involved in this, is that they put it in the post office to get to the clerk. They gave it to the postman. That was one of the.
Okay, can I get you to try to sign in on your cell phone?
Yeah, let's see. I am on my cell phone.
Oh, you're on your cell phone? Okay, we get a chatter the whole time you're talking. It's picking up us. Is your cell phone leaning against the computer?
No, it's okay. Now try that. Is that better?
Are you watching the show on another format?
No.
Okay.
No.
Oh,
No,
that
better?
is better.
Clear as a bell.
Okay, yay. All right.
Yeah, that does sound like a complicated issue.
Do you want me to repeat that so that it's clear?
No, we all understand. We were just getting like a small chitter as you talked. It just
okay.
In the background. We could still hear you, but I could understand how someone, listening with sensitive ears would be running to the hills.
Sorry.
Oh, you've got nothing to be sorry about. I'm wondering. I wonder what this, because let's face it, we're probably not going to go back to voting in person. It's not going to happen. Even
we should. We really do need to.
We need to.
Right. This is a prime example.
But our highly conservative county clerks don't want to do it.
Our county clerk was amazing. She was amazing in the recount. She is the one county that discovered there was a problem with the ES&S equipment and software with one ballot that we all determined in the recount, looking at it, that it was eligible to be added in and counted. Well, the total showed the one extra ballot, but then when the votes that are sent out by the ES&S equipment for adjudication, that number was very different. And in looking at how how she processes those, and she chooses and hits enter for, say you voted for one candidate and then you changed your mind, and you go, oh, I think I want this one, and you circle the one you want, cross out the one you don't want. Those are sent out to be adjudicated by their equipment. So she goes through and looks at what was the voter's intent. She chose what was the voter's intent based on, looking at it. And when we were watching it and observing, we agreed that was what the voter intended. They circled it, they crossed out the other one, they changed their mind. But it was clear who they wanted. She would hit enter for the right name, the right candidate, but that was not accepted in the tabulation at the end. She discovered that, reported it to ES&S. They took responsibility. It made a difference of 55 votes for Tooele County, in addition to what was counted on the original count for the primary. Yeah. And it was awesome what she discovered, and the NS was nice. Their workers fixed it, but it was a program issue in their software. Now, I don't know if the other counties did the same process that Tracy did. There was votes missing in Tooele.
All of those got put on they were told to stop counting until this program got fixed. And she has been assisting other county clerks because we want the right number. At the end of the day, that's what we want, every vote counted. But you're right, they actually, even the lieutenant governor's office came out and applauded her for finding this. This was huge. Tracy has been open to having more in-person voting centers. We wanted to see how it would go with the primary, and she got a good turnout at the Stansbury location as well as other locations. She'd be open more in person if it's requested by our populace. So, it
was not the problem in this. This issue that went to the Supreme Court, Utah Supreme Court today, was very different than this issue, the recount issue. But there's a lot of issues with having a mail-in ballots. There's a lot of issues with technology involved, and that ES&S system that Tracy found. But excuse me, the plea to the Utah Supreme Court today is about the votes that aren't even going to be looked at.
Right.
They're not even going to be
because of where they went in the government mail, because of where they went and when they were postmarked, kicked them out of even being able to be counted, which needs to be fixed. And I mean, I think that mail-in ballots, yes, we've been mail-in for a long time in this county. I can't say enough to people to drop their ballot in a drop box in their county, anywhere. We try to have as many as possible, and Tracy's working on even more. They have, lit, there's cameras. It's a safe place to drop your ballot.
But what I understand
in person.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I'm just going to add this to that. This isn't Tooele County problem. We're fine in CD2 with having ballot boxes, a local post office. With most of our county, we're a very large county. It only affects maybe a few little rural areas, and Tracy is approaching those. But in these other counties, I'm not even aware that they are able to have a ballot box somewhere other than maybe right outside of their county building, because of the distance to have someone with a camera, like you mentioned, and having for vandalism and theft with those ballot boxes. Other counties don't have what we have.
Yeah, if you're in Iron or Washington, the county is, a couple hundred miles wide and 20 miles tall. And your county seat could be at one end of it.
Exactly.
Here's the deal. But what I'm saying, the point I'm making is, we all want mail-in ballots to go away. That's almost universal. But none of our county clerks do. None of the people in power do. So they're not going to go away. They're just not. I would love to see it. I would love to. I think voting should be done in person. You should go in there. I don't know, color the fingertip blue. I don't care how you do it. It needs to be done, but it's not going to happen. Even our county clerk does not want to do away with mail-in balloting.
Why
There
do
are
you say
other things. I'm about to trigger half of our listeners right now, but there are other things on the horizon, like blockchain voting. That's being
I know,
worked
but
on, and blockchain voting is.
why do you say Tracy doesn't want to do away with it?
Because I've asked her. I've asked her face to face. She does not. She likes the mail-in balloting. She likes the voting machines. It takes a lot of. I don't think Tracy would ever do anything selfishly.
No,
But
No, but
no,
voting in
no.
person still uses the machines.
Right. It would still use all of the machines. It would just be a matter of she wouldn't have to babysit the ballot boxes and go there nightly and
Yeah.
get them at 8 o'clock and have cameras on them and all of that cost. And all of the things we're finding out with the mail-in ballots is the more people who touch them, the more chances of failure and error. That many hands in between. And now that they're going to these central areas to be postmarked, we're adding more problems involved. They're going to have to put instructions inside our ballots that say, if you're going to mail this to the United States Postal Service, you need to mail a week before Election Day, not the day before, a week before. And that would be one way to solve this problem. But then in rural areas, you still have the problem. They don't have access to ballot boxes. And we all have to realize that if you go to the post office, they change their date at 5 o'clock. If you turn
Yep.
something in for then and they take it to Salt Lake, it's already the next day.
well, let me
Or they
also
take it to Vegas, it's already the next day.
let me lay this out. I don't think it would be right to tell people who live in rural areas that they have to make their decisions a week earlier than
And
everyone
that's
else
another good
gets.
point. Very good point. Right. That's another good point because a lot of things happened the last couple of days. New information comes out about a candidate, knowledge that they didn't have a week ago, and
Mhm.
interaction with the candidate. That's putting another pressure on the candidate as well as the voter. It isn't a good thing at all. That's why in person is better.
Well, it's
Well,
not, but
yeah.
let me
How about-
explain the blockchain real quick.
1 second though. We could easily look at the government's postal service and say, in Utah, when you have ballots, because you know they're ballots when they're in the mail, they have to be postmarked the day they come in. And regardless where they go from here, but they better be postmarked the second they come in before they leave your post office.
Well, who's going to
That's a
postmark
simple
them?
thing.
Right. And who's going to do that? Which postal
The
worker
post
is
offices.
The mailman.
So you want the mailman on the day where he's got this job that takes 8 hours to do to say, I'm going to make it a 20-hour day that every ballot that comes in, I'm going to throw a stamp on it. You couldn't.
Yeah.
Now, you couldn't do it. Honestly, torturing one guy because we've got a broken system, that
Right.
wouldn't work.
It wouldn't. It's good. You know, it sounds wonderful. That would be in a perfect world. But you don't tell a federal employee what their instructions are or what they have to do during their work hours.
What'll end up
That's
is
a whole nother system that we don't. I mean, yeah.
and you'll
I mean,
only get a
it's great
quarter.
idea, but
You'll only get a quarter of the mail picked up that day because his day ends and then it's over.
yeah.
So
And then
I
we've got
totally
the
get that.
problem.
I also get that USPS is broken already. It's broken already.
Yes.
So the fact that we have to depend on them to have our vote count is asinine. We're depending on a broken system to deliver to a system. It's a squirrel chasing its tail at this point.
And in this race, what we're going to the Supreme Court for was all of those votes in rural Utah. Those people have been disenfranchised. They didn't get a voice. Just because of this many hands touching their ballot, delaying it, going over the state line 2 directions, there and back, and not adequate time informed. There's not information that told them, hey, you need to give it a week. No, they believe that they got it there the day before, which is what our ballots say, that it's going to work. I don't think the day before gave them enough time.
no, it did. Now blockchain. All right. For everyone out there screaming at me right now, what blockchain is it would be voting on the internet. But blockchain just means it's a means of verifying and securing that vote. So when you vote, it's stored on 100 or 1,000 different pieces of equipment that if someone wanted to go in and change your vote, they would have to do it on 100 or 1,000 different pieces of equipment. So it's essentially security by numbers. So it's recorded on all these things, which is why cryptocurrency works, because
Right.
the ledger is controlled on so many pieces of equipment. You can't go in and rob the bank, because the bank is spread too far. It's spread globally. And, you know, and I think there are companies working on it. I think in the next 10 years, we're going to see blockchain voting rolled out. Obviously, it won't be rolled out in America, maybe because we're a smoldering heap, or maybe because we're just untrustworthy. But we're going to see countries start to use it and prove it. But honestly, the best way is still in-person voting. But I understand that has an extreme cost. It costs a lot, and it's hard for the clerk to do. It's hard. She has to.
I think this mail-in, having the ballot boxes, that's expensive. They all have to be locked. They all have to be picked up every night. They have to be in multiple locations. They have to have cameras. That's not cheap either. And
It's
in
a
some
lot
areas,
cheaper
like
than.
we just pointed out, in rural Utah, they can't do that. That's not feasible to have cameras out in the middle of a farm or a long stretch of area and land geographically that is not populated. There's a lot of avenues and angles, I guess is a better word. There's a lot of angles to living in a rural area that you don't have the advantages that a city person has.
Of course. But you've got all the other advantages, like you don't live around crazy people. But here's one notion that we could run with in these rural areas. And this would be something Holly could speak to. Would be your precinct chairs being eligible to receive ballots, have a controlled box where they can receive ballots at their house, whatever. Then they can deliver those ballots to the county chair, and then the county chair could deliver those ballots into a state central location. You know, the county chair could take them to the clerk and get them counted and everything else. Now, I don't know what the feasibility is. That's just me.
Feasibility is that
spitballing.
would only work in a primary. It only works in a primary because everybody votes in the general, and everybody wouldn't feel comfortable bringing their ballot to a precinct chair.
Right.
Hey,
Holly.
That's a Republican thing.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm thinking you were very aware of how we voted at state convention. The election buddy, we were given a private number we could look up, because even now we're cut out of the loop. We are told our ballot's been counted, but we don't know which votes really went to which candidate. That's not disclosed to us after the ballot is separated from the envelope. Election buddy, we had that luxury. We could go and we could see with that personal gold card number. Nobody else had that. That would kind of fit with what you've got going there, Jared, with your idea on 1,000 different places.
The blockchain voting. That's right. Not my idea. Let's be clear. I am not near smart enough to even think of that, let alone make it work. But there are companies that are building this technology right now.
So when you go vote in person on those machines, when you hit enter and you cast your vote, you got to see a receipt of your vote from the machine. And then it showed you who you voted for. That is what those machines can still do. And it gives an actual print receipt. You don't take it with you, but you get to see it in the window as it prints your ballot. And then it goes into the machine. The thing about in-person voting is you've got to pay employees to work those ballots. Now, it's not like, because I've offered, hey, I'll go, work an in-person all day long while people vote. You're party related. We need people who are neutral, people who will show up, do the work, and they get paid to do it. Schools would host it. And in a rural community, the local school is something they all can get to, I'm assuming, and vote, or the local fire department or whatever. But that even then, with those machines, you would get to see your receipt of who you voted for in real time. But a lot of people, especially elderly people, do like the mail-in. They like to be able to put it in and not vote in person. You would need a referendum, and that referendum would need to go signed statewide. So I don't know how many thousand signatures do you need a statewide referendum, Kay? 150,000?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot. And you get 150,000 signatures, then it goes on the ballot to let the people decide how we vote. That's how
Yeah,
you
it's just
change the
referendums
system.
to have a different number requirement. It's like for running for governor was 28,000. It was 130,000 for the Utah flag. Every one of them have a different total number, but it's a lot. And that's the other issue we're going on here. There's a lot of problems with the way we're voting, and the way Utah's got this set up. We've got many avenues of problems.
I
It's true.
agree.
And election integrity has to be our number one going into 2024 with this presidential, because it's not just presidential, it's down ticket. Every vote for Congress, for is so crucial to the direction this country is going in. And if we cannot get election integrity, at least in the hearts of Americans, it doesn't matter what we find out on election day if no one believes the results.
Right.
It just
Well, how do
doesn't
these people
matter.
feel that we're discussing today? That 1,200 people, how are they going to feel about voting in the national election? It doesn't matter. You know, that's how important it is. This is their right. This is an individual right. He's gone to the Utah Supreme Court, and that's what they need to really realize on all of this. How the vote turns out is how it turns out and how it should turn out. These people didn't get their voice, didn't get to really vote. Well, they'll vote in the national election. They're not going to trust the system. We got to trust the system.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Once we
I don't know. When you figure out how to trust the system, let me know.
Well, there's a lot of problems. And I think that really the good thing of it that's happened with this primary is we're seeing them and we're fixing them. Tracy fixed a big problem in our local county on that vote and with the system. And hopefully that all the other counties followed and did what they were asked to do. I don't know. I didn't observe them. I don't know. I didn't think the differences turned out quite like ours did. So it makes me very uncertain or leery whether they did it correctly, did it to the extent and compared their hand count versus what the machine was giving them, or if they just put it back through again.
My honest opinion is the state right now should nab our county clerk, who is a rock star, and they should say, you write the SOP for this recount that's going to happen next week. And you are the person that gets to hold everyone accountable. Here's your award. And Deidre Henderson should not run the ballot because she's essentially on it.
Exactly. That is the problem we have. We need a Secretary of State.
The Secretary of State, homeless person they drag off the street, anything would be better than having a person on the ballot run the, hey, look, I was on the ballot. Guess who won?
Yeah. It's cheat with capital letters. And you're in charge of the scoreboard when you're playing basketball or baseball or whatever game you're involved in. You're in charge of the scorecard. Oh, that score doesn't count. Mine, I get that one. And pretty soon it's just they win. And
you
that's
don't put
not right.
Well, but a Secretary of State would usually be appointed by a governor.
They need to be elected. A Secretary of State that's elected. We need to be specific. Yeah.
What we do on when their election is up, who counts their ballot?
They rotate so that they're on in opposite seasons, kind of like how our opposite election cycles. So that the 4-year cycle, but every 2 years they rotate. So they're never over their own election.
Yeah, you could bounce it between the auditor and the treasurer.
Maybe we could do that too. That's another avenue without paying another position.
Yeah,
but most states have a Secretary of State.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you could have the AG do it on the off years. You could do. There's lots of ways we could beat this.
Yeah, and we've got to beat this. This isn't working.
We have some comments rolling in now. O'Malley may ask, does she have a headset? But I think when she pulled it away from the table and held it, it lessened a little bit of that. Norma, who has a lot of experience with the post office, seeing how she did that for a long, long time, said, talking about how you're going to stamp it when you pick it up, that she said they will not pay someone for that. Literally, they would have to have a passenger in the vehicle that was their only job. And the post office is already a declared funded. They just can't absorb new funding for someone for one day.
Did they just used to not count these rural ballots?
I mean,
No,
that's
they
what I'm
probably
saying.
did.
We found out something very interesting this time. How many people haven't been counted in the past? They didn't know.
That's a good point, because they had to have done it somehow, some way. We've been mailing ballots for years.
Yeah.
But I don't think the trip to Las Vegas has been a part of maybe the one in 2022 might have been involved in that. But my understanding is it's more recent than that.
Yeah, we'd have to look and see what the records of how the Postal Service sorted mail. Did it go to Vegas to sort, which I understand why it'd go to Vegas to sort mail from Southern Utah, because it's a quicker trip, more cost effective, Norma says on purpose broken. She says 5 business days. And then she's talking about Bitcoin. She said AI will vote for you. It could be. I have seen the documentary Terminator. I know how this goes. The AI rises up. We start living like rats in caves. They build robots that come hunt us, and then we go back in time and try it over.
That doesn't sound good.
Well,
She said
haven't you seen?
5 years ago.
I mean, I've seen that documentary. It's called Terminator. You can look it up.
Yeah.
Norma also said the Postal Service changed. It's breaking up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
5 years ago. Now it makes sense, because we've been mail-in now for Stansbury was first, and that was a long time ago. Then all of Tooele County came, and before 2020, all of the state of Utah was mail-in. But again, if they changed routes on where mail goes, that probably changed, because I know they shut down that, that could have been 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys
I don't think it was
we're here.
that many years ago
Oh,
that Las Vegas got. I know we've been sending Twilla's mail goes to Salt Lake to be postmarked and has done for quite a while.
I need to pick you guys back up.
okay. Holly dropped out for some reason.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Rooster
I can't hear
on.
you.
No. Okay.
I'll be back.
Okay. Rooster on Rumble says voting day should be a national holiday. You get off work and you go to a local voting center and get ID'd and then go to vote.
I agree with
says, F mail-in voting and early voting. And I agree. That would honestly be ideal. It kind of breaks with the American can-do spirit. Which is why they don't do it on a holiday. I don't know. If you ever go overseas, you notice they throw holidays. There's like 3 every week. And we tend to have 13 a year, depending on what's going on. But, or even make it 2 days, or however. But I do think in-person voting is the most direct, secure way to do it. But it's gotten they've been handed the easy thing to do, and I'm not judging them for it. They're looking at their budgets and their availability as well, and they're saying this is the best way. This works best, and they feel it's secure. My question is, the voting machines got found to be incorrect. And then the voting company came out and said, oh my gosh, we made a mistake. Oh, hard to believe. But that's what they'd say, even if they did that on purpose. They would act just like that. Because if they acted any other way, they would be out. They would lose whatever the contract is. So I think we need to figure out how to have a better manage on our voting machines for sure, because that's a concern.
It is.
That's a heavy concern.
Well, we found out a lot of
I
things.
hope whatever happens, the Supreme Court's been made aware, and
Oh, we lost Holly now. Holly's got that good Stansbury Island internet.
Well, this is the point here, and really, I hope the Supreme Court sees this, that if they don't count these ballots, they've really made a lot of people in rural Utah angry, I would say, and feel that they're not valued as much as someone who lives in the city, that their vote doesn't count as with as much impact, and they didn't get a say. I think this is a terrible thing to do to over 1,200 citizens of this state, and they voted. They participated, and through no fault of their own, they do not know how the postal system works. They weren't in control after they gave their ballot to somebody in authority that they trusted. They trusted that it would be taken care of, and it would count, and it didn't happen for them. That's terrible.
Yeah, well, they're disenfranchised.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, and if you want universal suffrage, give us universal suffrage. And if you want urban suffrage, okay, declare it what it is, and we can say, we don't have to pay taxes anymore. Good.
Talk about not being treated equally.
Yeah,
Big,
shocking.
you know? Yeah.
Shocking. Well, Kay, thanks for coming on. We'll definitely have to have you on again when this is all sorted through. We know that you supported Colby Jenkins and went out of your way to support him and everything else. I came into this ambivalent. One, I'm not a Republican, and two, I don't vote federally anyway because I'm not a person who wants to say which boot you're going to wear while you kick me in the rear end. I don't care because that's all the government's been doing lately. They haven't.
It feels that way. It certainly does. And we do need to have people that are not career politicians, people who are not using their political position for dishonesty or personal gain, that they're really there to serve and do the greater good for everyone and help the country, not hurt the country.
How would it be?
Yeah.
You know what? When we get that, that'll be a rare day in history.
It would be. Right now, everybody's really willing to say something mean, rude, undercut somebody else, say something that headlines. I mean, it's like the newspapers that reported this morning's case. They, in their headline, already picked how they felt.
Yes, they did. I saw that. As I was looking for it. Why can't the Salt Lake Tribune just tell us what went on and not have to try to editorialize it to us or try to dare I say brainwash us through their thoughts?
Well, we were brainwashed with the headline.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have. I mean, once you read the headline, it's like, well, why do I need to read the article? Well, you need to read the article to find the truth and to find out about these people that voted and didn't know that the postal system changed or going to take extra time. They were not aware of that. They participated in the most important part or right that we have is to vote. And they did. And now it's not going to be counted. That's where we got to. What have we done to ourselves with all these rules and regulations? We really don't have good rules. We don't have good regulations. They're meant to hurt us.
Now you're catching on.
Yeah.
Remember, we are chattel. We are tax slaves.
No,
I agree.
We've got to change this. And as soon as we fix the media, and actually even some of the people in our state that don't see when there's somebody cheating, someone that's taking advantage of us, and our taxes are paying for things that we may not agree with, this is the only way we have a voice.
Well, I could go on about the media for hours, which I commonly do.
Good.
I think I would like to start a store that specializes in selling roofing tar and pillow feathers, and everyone else can think about the rest of that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Well, as long as
thank
we
you.
don't turn into China with Tiananmen Square and get rolled over by, you know, um, tanks. We were,
Yeah.
and we're headed there if we don't fix what we've got and value what we have and respect every citizen who voted and their decision. And that's the point here. We've got a case that our Utah Supreme Court that we're discussing today. They really need to realize that their economic and geographical inequality for rural Utah and not take those votes into consideration and accept them this time. And let's fix the instructions next time for November. Let's be more honest and upfront so that they understand. But to expect the Utah citizen to know how the U.S. postal system works and all the processes, that's beyond.
Well, or even they get time shaved off of their ability to make their decision, that everyone else gets this amount of time. Their time is cut short because they have to give it an extra day or two in the mail.
They're not treated equal, right?
That's not, yes, that's a disadvantage. But no, you're 100% correct. Even if the Supreme Court doesn't allow it, I think we should demand that the record be known, what comes out, because I would like to see what would have changed. Where are our losses? Because
I don't
we
think
need to be able.
Once they close this, they won't look at those again. I learned that watching Tracy, that they're closed, they're locked. You don't go back into those ballots unless there's a recount. They are done. They are sealed and closed, and they're not reopened.
Of course not. We'll learn that right after we learn about JFK's murder or the Epstein client list.
Yeah, that's where we're at. We really do have things that are withheld from us. It's privacy. It's not transparent at all. And some of the rules that are absurd. And this one is one of them. This, you can see by that number of, rural Utah doesn't have that many votes anyway. These little cities, there's some of them, these cities only have 300 residents. And I don't know how many of them are Republican or how many of them voted, but cumulative, that matters. It does. That large of a number means they obviously didn't know, because that is probably a majority of their votes. Yeah.
And I mean, seriously, how can you say you're the duly elected government without that whole middle part of that phrase I just said? But thank you very much, Kay. We will have you on again when we find out the rest of this.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Seriously.
Okay. All right.
Have a wonderful night. Say hi to your husband for me.
Okay, I will. Okay. Bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. I've got to read Holly's comment. Holly said, I hate to keep interrupting the show with her internet is crap. She'll watch and join after Kay leaves. What happened is we can't have two people on the internet in Stansbury at the same time, apparently. Overloads the whole Stansbury internet system. Sorry, Kay. She always loves talking with you. And thanks for all you do in the county. And I want to extend a heartfelt thank. I don't want anyone to misunderstand how I feel about Tracy. Tracy, in my mind, is 100% honorable. She would never do anything. Even if the vote went totally against her beliefs, she would be stand up about it. Tracy is phenomenal. I understand why Tracy wants to look, there's Holly's finger. Yeah, I understand why Tracy wants to keep the voting the way it is, because she's got to look at her bottom line there in her office, and that's what works. So are we done overloading the internet in Stansbury? I wonder how many people lost their Netflix tonight and they're screaming because we had two people on the internet from Stansbury Park at the same time.
You have been misinformed. Kay lives in Tooele.
Oh, does she?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I thought she lived in Stansbury.
Your whole bit is right out the window.
I ruined. Oh, it's two people in Tooele at the same time. Dang it.
Yeah.
I broke it.
Yeah. You live closer to her than I do.
Oh,
I agree with you. I know how you feel about Tracy. I think that's something that I've made no I tell everyone, you know, a lot of the votes that happen at the SEC regarding voter integrity, a lot of the discussions I've had just on this at this convention regarding voter integrity and Tracy's, when I talk about how our county works and, you know, the type of clerk we have, and it's not just Tracy, she'll tell you, her deputy clerk, the other ladies in her office, I mean, they will go to the ends of the earth to get the right number. That's what they care
yeah.
about. It's not who wins, loses. I don't know how any of them vote in there. Tracy was serving on the party and with me for a long time. I know what Tracy's values are, and she's a conservative person, but it would never affect the way that she would do her job. She is a character all the way.
Yeah, her integrity is her integrity and personality is without. I don't know if anyone out there ever gets a chance to talk to her. Just talking to her, you will know this. Just the way she talks, she's no BS. Tracy doesn't color outside the lines at all. She's a straight shooter. So I trust that system. I do think that there are holes in the system setup, not holes in our county clerk controlling the system that's been handed to her. There's just holes designated in the system. And it sounds like, you know, we do need to vet these computers more. Maybe one thing is they need to have a test vote that tests every aspect of the vote prior to voting day if they're going to continue with these, just to make sure we don't have this news story coming out. We can't shave days off people's ability to make their decision and offer other people an extra day or two. We just cannot. You can't do that. Maybe a system where it was set up where not everyone got a mail-in ballot, but if you wanted one, you signed up for it. And then that was accounted for and planned around, and we knew what to deal with on that.
Good work. Or you make a week earlier for voting and then you close voting off for everyone a week prior.
Something like that, you know.
But that does take rules and laws put up by our legislature to do and handle voting. They write those laws. Again, it was Tracy who cracked this story. She cracked it. And it wasn't any friends. You had the potential for the people who wanted Celeste to get the win that she got. Then you have people that that wanted Colby to win. That both sides, plus you're going to show your own government, hey, you guys, you have a problem. And I just figured it out. And the way that government handled it, I'm very proud, because they could have easily said, we don't want this out. This is going to freak people out. Instead, they led with it. This is who found it. This is how she found it. I mean, it was a long time. A lot of work went into Tracy breaking this story. And again, she just did it because it was the right thing to do. She didn't even want me to bring attention to her in any way, because, you know, she's like, well, my team and I, and, you know, when I went to the lieutenant governor's office, they stopped the consensus to figure it out. She's a business owner, a local business owner here in the county. Her family's been here a long time. Her children are amazing. She's not doing it.
Her husband was raised in Grantsville, you know.
Yeah.
Great. I'm going to put Tracy on blast right now. Tracy, come on the show and take the accolades. That, you know, do it.
She wants to get this figured out first. I think we want to get the account figured out. And I hope, because I know she's always offered, I hope that other county clerks are reaching out to her because, like I said, she wants it to be right. She doesn't, I don't think she cares what the outcome is. What she cares about is that rural voters votes got counted, and they are two different issues. What Tracy discovered is a different issue than what Colby's team is fighting right now. That whole system with the post office. But again,
and that is a big one.
There.
Tracy's issue was on what is it, the recount or a hand count, kicked out ballots. A ballot gets kicked out, and then when it was manually put in, it came back wrong. And but yeah, anyways,
right now.
That's all we have for the show tonight. We will be back on.
I thank Kay again because,
yes,
like I said in the intro, Kay and Brad have been wonderful as far as, you know, their work with elections. They've always been engaged with the party, but they really, really went above and beyond to try to get their delegates excited, their neighbors excited about voting, the candidates they believed in, candidates they supported, they had at their home. They welcomed delegates. They welcomed the public to come to their home, opened their home to people, and they've just been extraordinary as far as the work they've done. And I wish more people were able to knock on doors and do things like that. But at the end of the day, the biggest goal I have, and with my administration in the party, is we want to get the vote out. We want to encourage people to register to vote more than ever. I would love to see 100% count at the voter turnout. We do score high in the general. We usually hit, I think, 90%. And that's amazing. And a lot of that is because of mail-in voting, I have to say. There are pros and cons. That would be the number one pro, is you get far more people engaged when they can vote and put it in the mailbox, not wait in line, not do anything. But I would encourage using ballot boxes or going directly to the county and dropping it there to avoid this. Rural counties, especially if you live in a rural county, I would highly recommend you finding out, just go to your county building and drop it off, or make sure that there's a ballot box there, and be aggressive when you call the county clerk and say, look, we need a ballot box here. Put it in the strip mall parking lot. There's lights there. You know, put it in a library next to a book drop.
There's some places down there that don't have a strip mall. I mean, we've got a town here. We've got a town here called Callio, which has nothing. The post office, if I remember, is in somebody's house.
Okay. Well, someone in Callio then can drive it to a box or put it in the mail, but just know they need to put it in the mail sooner. Because now, until we change the postal system for Utah or the election system in Utah, at least we have this out. We know this happens.
And Norma brought up another point, and Norma knows the postal system. She says a lot of rural areas only have mail 2 times a week. So you got Callio, Terra, probably Iosepa. Well, maybe not Iosepa, but you got Ibapaw. You know, so these are a lot of things that need to be accounted for. If we're going to use the mail system for this, we need to have checks and measures to control that. That's all I have. I figured it out. What the problem was is we can't have 2 awesome Republican beautiful ladies on at the same time. Got to keep you guys separated.
You're so humble.
Internet. You guys broke the internet.
Yeah, my Death Star, you can see it. It's broken too.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to just real quick check, see if we have any other comments on anything else. Nothing recent coming up. We always end up with a comment that we miss because we close the show down and
Well, I would love to ask for anyone who'd be willing to offer prayers to my family.
Yes.
We have our fur baby is sick, and we are just our family's struggling with that. So if there's any prayers that you could offer us, we'd be so grateful. That's something that we've been dealing with since this morning, and it's going to probably be a couple days before we know. But that's a big deal to us here at our house, and I know all of you. It's a really tough time right now in the economy, and I know it's a really scary time with elections and everything. I just ask all of you to pray for the country and to those who are fighting for it, because we have a lot to lose. We have more to lose in this election, I think, than we ever have before. And the more engaged we get, I know it's exhausting and it's a luxury to be arguing over politics, as I said last week. But the more engaged we are, I think this type of thing gets caught, because people like Kay and people like Tracy are highly in tune. I mean, I sit and watch Tracy go over these ballots that have been adjudicated as a ballot watcher. I watch her make decisions on, and if it's not her, then Nikki, her clerk, her deputy clerk, is also highly in tune with your ballot. And I don't want one voter out there, regardless of how you vote, to be worried about your vote being counted. It's important. And I hope all of you around the world, especially around this country on voting night, will take the time to be a ballot watcher for your party or for a candidate. And especially in these states that I mentioned earlier, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada, Atlanta, and Georgia. I mean, those are the states that threw us last time, and those are the states that had highly irregular voting nights, and the numbers coming in super late. We need to be attentive and aware, because otherwise we are sheeple. That's what we are. And we'll be moved wherever we're supposed to go, and the government will tell us, this isn't happening. This isn't happening. And you're fine with this. These are not the droids you're looking for.
Mhm.
And the truth of the matter is, they only do that because we allow it, guys.
Yeah.
And once we stop allowing it, they have to stop. I'm paying attention to what's being said in politics by the Democrat candidate and her running partner. I'm listening to what the Republican candidate is saying. I hope someone's listening to RFK.
Can you call her a Democrat candidate? I think she's a Democrat selectorate. A Democrat, selectorate might be the best.
Yeah, because I ask Democrat friends, how many of you got to vote for her?
Democracy.
I mean, not one of you got to vote for her. And that should make you angry. I mean, and it's not because I don't think that Trump can beat her. This isn't coming from I think, Trump's got it in the bag. No, it has nothing to do with Trump. But as a delegate, I would be livid if someone told me, because I ran for delegate prepared to back Nikki Haley if she had won the state, or to back Donald Trump, because those were the last two standing. I was prepared to support, because my neighbors had voted and I knew people around the state were voting. I was prepared to support either. And you got to choose neither of these people. And that would frustrate me to no end, because that is not how a republic works. That's how
I've got some more comments to read. I had to scroll down. Back on Rumble, Rooster. He says, F voting boxes. Mail-in should only be for the disabled. He says she's a quack. You can't trust the system. I believe he's chatting about our lieutenant governor. Why can other countries count and announce their winners within hours, but the U.S. takes days or weeks?
And we used to do hours. In 2016, we had the results in hours.
I think that's because we used to have at every voting station someone can stand there and the minute there was a lull in it, hit the print where are we sitting at and give an update. O'Malley May says back on Facebook, I'm curious as to why I haven't seen any headlines about Bangladesh. O'Malley May, that's because the, dare I say, religion that is chosen to either be the bad guy when needed or ignored when not is the one that's doing it. She also says, I'm sorry. That's extended, Holly, to you and your family. We're all going to be praying, and your thoughts will be your family, your dog. You're going to be on our minds the whole time. She also says, and happy 50-year anniversary of Watergate. Yes.
That's
Watergate.
a show all 2 hours. A whole story of Watergate. Because until Carlson broke it down, I had no idea. I had no idea all of that. And a lot of that was our party, who just taught the Democrat Party how to oust a president in real time and not give their vice president the seat, but choose who the seat is. You guys, our parties are both guilty of this.
Yep. I think the Democrats were planning it. I think that on the way out, we've talked about this, but I think on the way out, when Biden came in and said, I'm throwing my backing behind Kamala, I think that was a thumb in the eye of the people who tossed him out. I honestly do. Because how long did it take?
Believe that.
How long did it take Obama? Yeah, it took Obama, what, 2 days to finally come in and say, he's throwing his support behind Kamala? Because I think he wanted an open election and he had someone in mind, or an open primary and he had someone in mind. He was going to go to the convention, get up there and speak first and say, I really like this person. Here's all the, and boom, push him forward. Because I don't think, and I also don't think he thinks that Kamala can beat Trump. I think there's too much baggage Kamala's carrying around, and they're flipping the script, and the Democrats are already losing the black vote right now, or enough of the black vote that it's making them feel pressure.
They're also registering non-documented folks.
Oh, and Harley, shit. Yeah,
they're walking around giving them registration so they can vote. This is happening in California. It's happening in New York. These types of things, folks, are how they're going to steal an election with non-citizens voting. And we have to be absolutely on top of that. There should be no sanctuary state. This state, no cities that are sanctuary. Our governors come out saying we are not a sanctuary state. I think that's plan B. I think plan A, Obama did have someone, and the party would have followed, and it would have went in correct order to where the delegates would have voted at convention. I think they jumped the shark, though, because I think Kamala knew she wouldn't get the vote at convention.
No, she wouldn't.
Pretty sure that she had KJP put out that post that Biden's going to be supporting Kamala on Twitter. And I really think that was all it was against what Obama wanted. I'm pretty sure about that.
I think Jill would have been in on it too, because I bet Jill is pissed. Oh, Dr. Jill Biden is angry. O'Malley May says in Bangladesh, they're murdering Christians and Hindus, and they are. Muslims. Okay, I'm not in Bangladesh. I don't. But the reports coming out is they are murdering. You can, on X, you'll be scrolling along, and you'll see some horrendous videos of them assaulting people's houses, dragging dead bodies through the streets. That seems to be a pastime to certain people of the
Why
Muslim
in
faith.
Bangladesh? Has something happened?
Because Bangladesh is always in a civil war, and right now, well, also could be some of it could be bleed over from how Europe is starting to wake up to their socialism. And then O'Malley May also says that dude really hated G. Liddy. Yes, G. Liddy is he's a fascinating dude to study. Whether you like him or hate him, the guy was packing some brass giggleberries for sure. She says they are not automatically registering people in Utah. In the ERIC voting system, you get a driver's license. In the ERIC voting system, you get a driver's license whether they are a citizen or not. You know, since we let non-citizens have driver's licenses now, I have a friend whose dad just fled there when it was going down. So O'Malley May has some direct evidence. Yes. And Bangladesh, I mean, it's boiling over. England's boiling over in multiple cities in England, not just London. Well, London, it can't boil over because there are no English people left in London. It's boiling over in the suburbs, I guess. A little bit in Ireland, but lots of other cities, and I don't know where the world is going mad right now. And I don't know. I also want to throw out next weekend is not this upcoming, not tomorrow. Next weekend, what is that, 17th and 18th? We have the 2-day basic pistol defense course. This is O'Malley May's rotation, so it will be for sinners. It'll be the Saturday, Sunday course that is going on. I believe the course is booked, but if you want to pressure her, see if any openings open up or anything, you go to shieldmaiden.com. They are enrolling non-citizens in the ERIC voting system, basically. O'Malley May, shoot us shieldmaiden.com and have a look at the schedule. Next month will be the Holy Course taught by Weston Brandon. And that will be the Friday, Saturday course. I'm not exact sure on the days, but you better believe we will have you guys come on. But these courses are filling up. That is one thing. I think we can tell how comfortable people feel about the security of their nation by how many people buy guns, buy ammo, sign up for these courses, these self-defense courses, what be it unarmed, hand-to-hand, bladed. Yes, August. What's that, Holly?
I think women especially should definitely consider this course. If you just want to feel confident about carrying a firearm or not even carrying it on you, just having it in your home for protection. I can't tell you what this course, I can't say enough good things about this course, not just for myself, but my other gal friends. We made a group out of it and we had the most amazing time. There's fantastic,
like a play date.
A play date with bullets and competition, but you get to see a side of yourself that maybe you never saw before, and you get to feel something, a little bit of confidence, but you get taught the basic skills that teach you how not to need a firearm. And
that's the beginning of the course. How not to need a firearm.
So that you never use karate, right? It's just that same mentality, and it's taught in such a very it's an easy to understand, and really, really you can see your own life and these situations, especially women. I say that because Men don't grow up like women do. We get ogled at, we get yelled at. It doesn't matter how we look or what we're wearing. It just goes with being a woman. And dads will tell their daughters all the time, don't park in dark parking lots if you're going to be out at night, or don't walk to your car alone. Shopping, have your focus on getting things in the vehicle, watch around you. That's something we have to teach our daughters anyway. This is just, I loved this course. I loved it with O'Malley as the teacher, because it just really hit home with me. And I think that it did with the ladies I was with and the guys I was with. Hell, one of them decided to work there because he was so good.
No, it's because I was funny. I charmed him. I'm a charmer.
Yeah.
All right. So
there
I'm
was
going
that.
to flash up on the screen a little bit of real quick. So it's shieldmaidentactical.com. Go on there. It's a 2-day course. She also states that you can go on there, watch a little video, get a little preemptive of what you can expect to do on there.
Her course is full for August, but October.
The course is full for August. No course in September, apparently. Gonna have to, I'm gonna have to go a month without doing my range time. For some reason, it's not playing on there. Is it playing now? Hopefully it is.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh yeah, it's coming up.
Okay, there it is. You can see this is what it looks like. You got instructors that go out and shoot. They work with you. We've got a plethora of instructors. We got guys from, previous law enforcement to guys that are just people who are thirsty for the training and then enjoy sharing that with other people. Positive gun culture and everything else. It says there's a 2-day course in September. Wes has a different class in September, and his website is defensesenseusa.com. And of course, whatever class he has coming up, we're going to advertise it. I'm not only do I train with these guys, but I'm a firm believer that both of them are excellent role models and people to get to know and to learn from in self-defense fashion. I don't know, got lost in the conversation there. But so Wes has a different class in September. You can go to his course for O'Malley May. Hers, of course, is coming up in October next month. She'll be in on that. And so, yeah, go on in there. Or no, I might be missing up time. Oh, Holly got kicked out again. She's frozen. I better. Oh, no.
Can you
wait.
even hear me?
She's coming. Oh, there we go. She's back. She's back.
I'm not showing up on my screen, my video.
Okay. Good news is it froze you like when you were making a weird face. So that's what we like to see. Anyways, that's the show, guys. If you have any questions about either of those websites, you can shoot a message out at me on Facebook or Rumble or YouTube, whatever. I will, I respond to every message that comes down. If you're out of state, we'll do that. October will be Mallory's last class of the year. Gets too chilly after that. Wes might have another one. November class is fun. It's fun when you have to really make that physical sacrifice to gain the knowledge.
Oh yeah, that's class. My fingers are already freezing.
That's when it's really worth it. You got to embrace the suck. All right, everyone. Have a good weekend. Humana, be safe.
Thank you.
Say goodbye. And don't forget to pray and or light a candle for Holly's family and their beloved family member.